You are an analyst, living in a world of illusion. You stand in a room full of people, but you are not with them. You are watching them from behind a one-way mirror. You see the smiles that don't reach the eyes. You hear the unspoken words hanging in the static between them. You are a participant, but you are also the narrator. This is not arrogance. This is not a choice. This is the burden of awareness. It is the silent, isolating side effect of a mind that cannot, will not, stop. Your life is a series of symptoms of this condition. You may have called it anxiety or restlessness or just being difficult, but it is something deeper. It is the price of a mind that sees the source code. Let's examine the first symptom. Number 10, you question everything. You're in a group chat and someone sends a fun fact. Everyone else reacts with a thumbs up, but you feel a familiar itch. You open a new tab. You Google it. This isn't arrogance. This is the curse of a mind that refuses to take anything at face value. Highly intelligent people are not wired to accept. They are wired to doubt. They possess a non-negotiable mental reflex that demands, prove it. This relentless skepticism is a shield. It protects you from manipulation, from the lazy thinking that comforts the rest of the world. But it is also a wall. It makes you seem cynical or too serious. It's a hunger for genuine truth, not just for information. The irony is that you don't always want to be the skeptic. You just can't help it. When your brain is tuned to spot inconsistencies, the entire world becomes a flawed puzzle. Conversations that others enjoy, gossip, trends, surface-level politics can feel painfully shallow. You are starving for substance in a world of empty calories. And here is the first twist in the observer's paradox. Studies show that overanalyzing everything, this very drive for truth, actively reduces social bonding. Your brain is busy dissecting while others are simply connecting. So when people say, "You think too much," what they are really saying is, "You are noticing things I am comfortable ignoring." Being this aware often feels lonely, not because you dislike people, but because you see too many layers beneath their words. This leads to the second burden. Number 9, you get bored fast. Have you ever started a new job or a new hobby, felt an electric thrill of discovery, only to find that 2 weeks later, the fire is gone? You're done. Not because it's bad, but because your brain has already solved it. You've seen the pattern, and the mystery has evaporated. Highly intelligent people have a low tolerance for mental monotony. When something no longer challenges them, their mind craves novelty like an addiction. Instead of skydiving, you are chasing intellectual danger, new ideas, complex mysteries, unwinnable arguments. But here is the dark side of that craving. It makes life unstable. You might hop between passions, friendships, even careers, appearing flaky or uncommitted. They don't understand that for you, routine feels like a cage. Psychologists call this the novelty paradox. The smarter you are, the harder it is to remain entertained by normal life. This is why you mistake chaos for creativity. You tell yourself, "I work better under pressure." But in reality, your brain is simply addicted to the euphoric rush of problem solving. Routine feels like slow death. The question is, can you sit with the quiet long enough to let the next big idea form, or will you bolt at the first sign of boredom? This restlessness isn't just external, it's internal. Number 8, you argue with yourself constantly. For you, your mind is not a sanctuary. It is a war zone. It is a courtroom where multiple voices are all debating a single point, cross-examining every thought. You'll have a brilliant idea, and before you can even write it down, another part of your mind has already torn it apart with logic. This isn't self-doubt. This is mental cross-examination. A mind with this capacity runs thought simulations automatically. Before you even speak, you have already imagined 5 potential objections to your statement and prepared counterarguments. This is why conversations with you can feel like debates. Even when you're just discussing dinner, you aren't trying to dominate. You are just fundamentally allergic to lazy thinking. The cost? The cost of this internal war is your peace. You rarely feel certain because for every conclusion you reach, your mind immediately whispers, "But what if you're wrong?" It is exhausting. You crave silence, but you cannot silence the courtroom in your head. This heightened awareness extends beyond logic. Number 7, you feel emotionally out of sync. You can walk into a room and before anyone says a word, you feel it. The tension, the unspoken resentment. Someone is smiling, but you see the micro expression of pain they're trying to hide. That's not paranoia. That's emotional intelligence turned up to 11. You detect the micro expressions, the fractional tone shifts, and the changes in posture that most people miss entirely. But this superpower has a devastating downside: constant overstimulation. When you sense everything, it is nearly impossible not to feel everything too. You find yourself utterly exhausted after socializing, not because you dislike people, but because you have been unconsciously analyzing and absorbing the emotional state of everyone in the room. Their stress becomes your stress. Their discomfort becomes yours. You are an emotional lightning rod. This is the observer's paradox in its cruelest form. Your intelligence doesn't make you socially adept. It just makes you painfully, acutely aware of the invisible, unspoken complexities. You see the strings connecting people, and sometimes you desperately wish you couldn't. This all builds to the most alienating burden of all. Number 6, you struggle to relate. You start to explain an idea. Your eyes light up, your mind races ahead, and then you look up and you see it. That awkward silence, the blank stares. You realize with the familiar sinking feeling that no one is following you. It's not because you're weird, it's because your brain moves too fast. This is asynchronous communication, a mismatch where your thought speed and their processing speed are out of sync. You skip steps they need. You jump from A to D because B and C are obvious to you. To you, the conclusion is inevitable. To them, it feels like you teleported. Over time, this gap makes socializing exhausting. You are left with two painful choices. You either oversimplify yourself to fit in, or you stay silent to avoid the frustration. Both feel like a betrayal. Albert Camus once wrote, "Intelligence isolates." He wasn't exaggerating. We have now diagnosed the symptoms of the burden of awareness. You see what others ignore. You solve what others accept. You debate what others assume. You feel what others mask. And you move at a speed that leaves you ultimately alone. This is the social cost, but it is only the beginning. What happens when this relentless mind turns its focus from other people to the very fabric of reality itself? What happens when a brain built to solve begins to decode the patterns of existence, the meaning of happiness, and the nature of the void?
We establish the social cost. Now we confront the existential price. This is what happens when your mind's relentless search for order turns on reality itself. This is the price of clarity.
That's not arrogance or coldness. That's the silent burden of awareness. When you see life from so many angles at once, it's hard to fully belong to just one. You understand too much. How fragile relationships are, how time is slipping away, how most people cling to illusions just to stay sane. You carry this invisible distance, a quiet observer energy. You can adapt to any crowd, but you never truly dissolve into it. You are both participants and narrator. And that duality can make even joy feel slightly secondhand. But here is the truth most people never tell you. Being different doesn't mean being disconnected. Many of the greatest minds in history walk that same lonely edge. It's not exile, it's perspective. You're not standing outside life, you're seeing all of it.
So next time you feel like an alien in your own world, remember, solitude isn't a punishment for intelligence. It's where deep thinkers recharge. The goal isn't to fit in. It's to find those rare people who make your mind and your world feel at home.